Hello everybody, Ian Robson here, welcome to another edition of Agrofrost. Alright, we got what's going on today. As you recall from the previous episode, we were ready to start harvesting this field, and as you can see I've got the combine, he's running and ready to go already, so let's go ahead and get started on that. Now the funny thing about this particular field is that it is quite a long field actually. I think if I were to use courseplay on this particular field, it would probably work. It would just be a really odd way of going about harvesting the field, I think. So, yeah, I don't think it's been fertilized either. No, it doesn't appear to be. Oh well, not too worried about it. So I think what we'll do is, I think we will harvest this field via the GPS. Can I actually go? No. I wasn't sure. Sometimes you can actually get like a nice, a good angle, but not always. So I think, actually, maybe I could. Let me just check here. So if I bring up the information here, and if I think you can rotate it. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to do that the way I want it to do it. Rotate course to the left. There we go. Yeah, that's weird. It just depends, because this is like an angle. Because it's like an angle. Let's see if we can get it to work here properly. Because it's like an angle, it's not like your typical straight field. That's why it's kind of some funny problems. Oops, apparently I'm going to go through that tree. Thankfully the trees are mostly non-collidable here, which makes our life a little bit easier. Ooh, there's a nice grass field back there. Nice. It does make your life a bit easier, so when you have nice straight fields, but go forward. There we go. So it does make your life a bit easier, but GPS mod is a bit funny sometimes when it comes to fields that aren't like north, south, east, west. So like I could set it sort of up so it works on this field, but it's not like a typical. I just press Control and then Enter, and that will center it on my position. I have to, as you saw, I had to actually adjust the angle a little bit so it would work properly, but that's fine. You can work around these things. Like, all I did was, didn't want to shift the course. Sorry, I was shifting it before, but I wanted to rotate it. So you can rotate to the left or to the right and adjust the angle as you need. So in this case, that helps to adjust for fields like this that aren't north, south, east, west sort of thing. Or that's not the primary direction, so it's not too bad. That's one of the nice things, or the versatile aspect of this particular mod versus courseplay. Courseplay I'd only be able to, so if I just generate a course, I'd only be able to go start in a corner, so I could say start in the northeast corner up there. So if I did that and I wanted to head west, so I would be going west, but it would go from the top and go all the way down. I can't adjust it so it goes in an angle, and that's just the way courseplay is. I can't change that about that particular mod, but I can use the GPS mod to do, as I just showed you, adjust the angle so you can go in the direction you want to go in, basically. So actually, you know what, let's just empty while we're here, might as well. Trailer's right there. I forget which button it is. Oh, there we go. I keep thinking it's N. I think before it used to be N to unload into with this particular combine, but obviously that was changed with the update. I should be able to adjust it really easily, actually. In 2015. That's one of the really nice things I really appreciate about what they changed in 2015. The fact that you can adjust your mod, like adjust the controls of the mod so easily now. Before, it never used to be that easy. Like, you had to go into the XML file and adjust some things. Now you just go to the options and then you're good to go. Basically, it's pretty crazy. It's a really nice feature, actually. And it's so quiet in here. I can't believe how quiet it is in there. It's nuts. Like, in comparison. What? I don't want disable. There we go. I have a little bit of straw there. I don't need straw anymore. I could bail it up, but I don't want to bail it up, if I'm honest with myself. Because I did a little bit of bailing already, so I'm not too worried about straw at this particular time, because we do have probably enough of it laying around already. I think we have like 6 bales. We don't have any cows at all. Like, I mean, if we were to buy cows right now, we'd be able to buy, oh, I don't know, 3 cows, so I'm not too worried about it. That'd be an extremely small dairy. I guess we could buy something like chickens instead. Where are the chickens on this map? They're actually in town. Could do that. I don't normally get chickens. Or sheep. Yeah, I guess we could do sheep. That we really don't need straw, because sheep don't require straw at all. Although it does mean we need a mower. I don't know, I just wanted to try the wrapper out, and I think that's the reason why I was like, let's get some cows, we can use the wrapper then. And it actually has a purpose. Like, of course, for sheep you could give them silage, and in real life that does happen, but in the game it doesn't make a difference whether you give them that or not. Eventually I'll need to find a map with pigs and beef cattle on it, but I haven't found one. Well, that's not true. I have found a few of them, but I haven't haven't started playing on one yet. Let's say that. But there are quite a few of them out there. There are, I think, actually, there's a new, as far as I know, there's a new edition of the Texas map, and that includes beef, cattle, and cows, as far as I know. So if you guys are looking to play on an American-styled map with beef and pigs, you can check out, I think it's the Texas map, version 1.2. I don't know what it's like. I haven't honestly checked it out. Because I've already finished recording the last episode of that, I guess. And that by this time the series should have ended, I think. So I'm probably on a different map already. Yeah, probably a different map already at this point in time, so not too worried about that. But as far as I know, there is a different version, a new version out that does include those particular animals, which is kind of cool. I don't know how they adjusted them. Like, it used to be with pigs, all you need to do is feed them a little bit. Like, you give them straw or water or something, and you'd start producing pigs. And I think it's the same way now. It just depends on the map. Some maps you have to buy the pigs. Some maps you just give them water or straw or grass, and they're good to go, basically. So it really depends on the scenario. It's kind of like an oval-shaped field, I guess. I feel like I'm doing NASCAR really slowly. Yeah. Really slowly. I don't know. Well, NASCAR is a kind of a sport I never got into. I like cars, and I like racing, but NASCAR specifically I never got into. I prefer F1, although I don't watch it very often because I don't watch it ever, let's be honest, because I don't have cable. And when you don't have cable, you don't watch sports. So I don't watch F1. Oh, that's a bit annoying. Missing little bits and bobs. Yeah, so I don't watch, although, like I said, although I do like F1, I just don't watch it anymore. My favorite driver used to be a Canadian driver, because his father, I think it was Gilles Villeneuve was his father, and his son is Jacques Villeneuve, I think it was. He was from Quebec, I believe. And actually, I believe he's still in Montreal. I think he has a driving school out there now, or he does racing. He actually came from, I want to say it was IndyCar or kart racing. And he made the switch over to F1. And then I think he went back. I can't remember. But it was kind of interesting. It's kind of always interesting to hear the reason why people switch between things. I think quite a few drivers try that. They go from like IndyCar to F1. I wouldn't say quite a few. There are some drivers that do that. I guess F1's like the ultimate racing, I suppose. And that's why some drivers want to make that leap. It has been toned down, and I think, as far as I know, in recent years, like, I believe they put restrictions so you can only have like a V8 engine. So what that means is you're basically limiting the horsepower and limiting the speed to a certain extent. So it makes sense, you know, and like for the safety of the drivers. As much as we'd all like to have like a V10, you know, F1 race, I don't know if it's really necessary to go that route. There we go. Perfect. Let's go ahead and turn around here. I really should do another headland. I don't know why I'm looking behind me again. Every time. It's like, I look behind me as if I can see out the back window, but obviously you can't, so. Yeah, but this is, like I said, I'm really pleased with GPS mod. I can't believe how versatile it really is. Like I said before, with Courseplay you couldn't easily do, you could do it with this field with Courseplay, but you'd have to really set it up in a different manner, so. But alas, GPS mod to the rescue. You can angle the straight lines, which is nice. So if you have a field like this, which is kind of like a not it's straight, but not like in a east-west, north-south scenario. So I don't know. I like it. It's one of the few mods. It's probably one of my favorite mods now. Like, I remember when I first saw it, I was kind of like, yeah, you know what? It doesn't seem like it's that helpful. I can use Courseplay for most scenarios. But, alas, I found lots of different uses for it. Well, yeah, I guess I really have. Like, one of my favorite uses for it is when you're unloading a combine. And so you set it up so it stops at the end of the field like that. So now when I'm unloading a combine and I'm not paying attention for a quick second, I don't drive, you know, halfway across the map, because I've done that before. When I looked away from the screen, I was on my second screen for a moment, doing something else, whatever it happens to be, and then I'm like, you know, where the heck am I? It's happened more than once, let's say that. Also happens when you have two screens sometimes. You get, well, if I'm reading something or I'm checking Twitter, for example, it often happens where I'm not paying attention to the game. I'm reading or watching a movie, for example. Now, start dumping is this. That seems... It's strange, because obviously it's recognizing that it's there, but it looks so odd, because it goes... Like, technically, the way it goes, I could do this far, and it would actually look better. Because before, it looked like it was going on the other side of the tipper here, which doesn't make any sense at all, so... Ah, well. Let's go check on this guy. He is... not quite done. So let's get him working on that last little bit there. Don't know why I didn't do that before, but just the way things go sometimes. So we'll get him working on that last little bit here. Actually, I could probably just do it myself. It's so funny. Because I don't normally just drive the tractor like this without using the GPS mod or without using Courseplay or anything. I always forget like how much the tractor actually moves around now with 2015 in comparison to other ones. It's actually pretty surprising. Surprising in a good way though. So like if you're on a hill, it'll slide a little bit. So it's a bit more like the more realistic mod used to be. So the more realistic mod used to be more along the lines of you would do something similar to that. Like I remember playing on Lomerheim, I think it was. And you'd be on a hill and you'd be cultivating like across the hill, not up the hill, and you would just, you know, slide all over the place. It was crazy. There we go. Perfect. So now we have a field that is ready for apples. Oops. I don't technically need to use a field, but I'm going to use a field because we have a few extras here. Another sugar beet field. It makes me feel so bad that I didn't notice that there was. I guess I didn't look. I should have looked, and obviously I didn't. So I'm just gonna go up in the middle of the field, and we'll go from there. Hire a worker here. There we go. Perfect. It's funny when you set up things like oops. When you set up the GPS mod properly, especially on a field like in this particular angle, I'll say, you can really make short work of it. Like technically I only have like what, 1.5 passes left now because of the way it's set up. Like if I had set this up with using Courseplay, undoubtedly it would have gone like, I can show you with my little cursor here in the map, it would have gone like this all the way down. It would have been a lot less efficient because it would have made a lot more turns. But you know, in that scenario, I guess you could have hired a worker. I think a hired worker probably would have worked well in this scenario as well. If you'd gone around the field a couple times, probably would have been perfectly fine, but yeah, I guess it would have been fine. So, I don't know, that's one of the downfalls of Courseplay versus GPS mod versus the hired workers. I don't know. Time for coffee. It's funny, because I've been trying to reduce the amount of coffee I've been drinking. Instead of drinking more cups of coffee, and I've been putting less water in the coffee maker to make less coffee. But because of that, my coffee has become stronger. So I would put the same amount of coffee in it, like coffee beans, because I grind my beans in the morning. I put the same number of coffee beans in the grinder, but put less water in it. So now the coffee is, I have fewer cups of coffee, but now it's stronger coffee. So one step at a time, I guess. Eventually we'll get it down so it's not, it's only a few cups of coffee. or 1 cup of coffee in the morning, maybe even none. We'll see. Even though I enjoy coffee a lot, I am curious to see whether or not having no coffee, whether it'll affect my sleeping or not. Because sometimes what happens is, like, I guess I probably said this before, but your body basically becomes physically dependent upon coffee. And if it's not in your body by a certain time, it won't function at an optimal, 100% efficiency sort of thing. So I'm curious as to whether I'd be able to sleep in longer if I didn't have any coffee at all. That's my hypothesis, at least. Because what will happen for me specifically is at a certain time in the morning, if I don't wake up, I'll have a headache essentially, because your body is becoming well, it is, my body is physically dependent upon it. So anyways, so I've been seeing a lot of nice maps coming out lately. There's quite a few nice ones out right now. There's this one, for example. I have a couple other maps already downloaded. I know Manor Farm by Chris7710. He just offered a map download like yesterday. Yesterday being January 5th? 6th, sorry. So he's offered a map download. So I guess his map is pretty near to be almost done, or is done. I don't know for sure. I haven't checked the map out yet, but I'll definitely check that out momentarily. But it's kind of an interesting series watching Chris do his thing with the maps. I think what he does is he basically does like a little intro, he talks a little bit, and then puts music on and for the rest of it, which is fine. It's I don't know, it's not something you'd want to talk throughout, not in my opinion at least, because you need to concentrate and there's long. Well, I guess depends on whether you've done it for a lot or not. A lot. And whether you've done it a lot or not. Though for me, for example, I haven't done it. I haven't made many maps, or I've tinkered with lots of maps, but I haven't really made a map per se. So for me, it wouldn't be. I'd probably have to think about a lot of things, and try not to make any mistakes. Whereas Chris7710 has made quite a few maps, and in his scenario, he probably knows what he's doing, like, you know, with his eyes shut almost, I suppose, because it's kind of if you look how fast he works in comparison to how fast like I would work, it's just phenomenal. But you know, it all comes with practice. If you want to learn how to make more maps, try to make more maps, basically. If you want to learn how to tinker with mods, tinker with some mods. It's like anything in life. If you want to become a blacksmith, try to do some blacksmithing. I know that's a really random thing, but I was reading an article the other day, and one of the things they said, one of the article talked about, what was it? No, it wasn't an article at all, was it? It was actually a comedian, Nick Offerman is his name, and he was talking about find a discipline. So the first thing that came to my mind was like, oh, just do blacksmithing. I'm like, the most random discipline ever, but it's kind of like a cool one, I suppose. I don't know how useful it would be. Like, I think blacksmiths these days aren't really used for a whole lot. I think the only thing they really are used for, I'm not even sure. They might be used for putting shoes on horses, maybe still? I don't know. I don't think so, actually. I'm not 100% on that at all. Anyways, but that was the first thing that came to mind when he was like, you know, find a discipline. I'm like, oh, blacksmithing, obviously. I don't know why that came to mind first, but I think at one point in time I wanted to take it up as a hobby / trade, but I realized that while it is kind of a cool trade to have, it's not necessarily the most useful trade to have. Like, these days it would be much better to be a mechanic or a carpenter, because they can be applied to everyday life nowadays. But blacksmithing, not so much. I could do a welding course, I suppose, but welding doesn't really interest me that much, for whatever reason. I think for blacksmithing, the reason why it has always interested me for the longest time, I think it's like working with metal and like with swords and stuff like that, because if you think about stuff like, I don't know, let's just say King Arthur, or you watch shows like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, there's always like a particular sword, and that was, you know, that one sword is this, you know, a very special sword sort of idea. Or if you go to something like Kill Bill even, which is kind of a little off the mark, but that's more to do with samurais and whatnot. And oh, that's cool. I didn't even notice that. Check that out. Little animation there for dropping straw. I was going for like chaff and straw together there. Yeah, going for straw. Anyways, so with Kill Bill, like they have swords in that particular movie where it was very important to have a particular Hanzo sword, Hanzo samurai sword in that scenario, because if they had a Hanzo sword, that was like, you know, the best type of steel out there. So, I don't know, stuff like, you know, if you watch a lot of samurai or kung fu movies, well, I guess it's more samurai related movies. I don't think it, there was as much focus in kung fu on the particular weapon you used. So I guess it's more of a Japanese style thing. Although I'm sure the Chinese had something similar, but as far as I know off the top of my head, I think it's more of a samurai related thing. Not an expert. Hashtag not an expert. But yeah, it's kind of interesting the way that stuff works out. So I don't know. So that was one of the things he said in his. It was like it's a comedy show, and that was one of the things he said. It was like your 10 tips for life, and like one of the things was, you know, carry a handkerchief, for example. One of the other things was find a discipline. So for whatever reason, that stuck in my head, and now I'm thinking about that for whatever reason. I really should have just left the combine down there. Yeah, let's just leave it down there, because we have that other field that's right there. That will be ready at some point. We've closed up the combine, so got all the grain out of it, so we should be safe to leave it outside for the time being. Not optimal, but if this is Italy or Spain, I don't think it rains very much in either of those places, so I don't think leaving it outside is going to be a bad thing. Actually, in that case, it might just be the sun, because if you leave any type of vehicle outside in the sun, specifically rubber tires, they don't fare well in the sun for extended periods of time. Alright, let's grab the Ursus here. I guess we'll just sell this straight up. Let's check. What's the price of wheat? $4.40 at the Estación de Tren. Or the Molino. That's much easier to say. Let's go check out the Molino. But I do like this map. I really like these little roads here. Don't know why. I think it's just because they're like like I said before, it reminds me a lot of the Vojvodina, because it all like bounces around and moves here all over the place. I don't think there are any places on this map where there are mud holes. There might be. I don't remember off the top of my head if there are ones or not. So we are looking for the Molino. That's where you sell the eggs, obviously. Is this the Molino over here? I don't think it is. What's this name of this one? Oh, the Oficiana Silo. Oh, there's the silos right there. Okay, so it's not there. So where the heck is it? Oh. Guess if I just looked at the map, I would have been able to find it. Alright, so let's head to the southwest corner, and I think we'll end the episode after that. So, which way shall we go? This way, I guess. So I can see there's lots of, like, I don't know, I'm really enjoying, like, just they don't have to be enormous hills like the Alps. That doesn't excite me so much. But they're just, you know, a little bit of a variation in the topography. Someone actually left a comment the other day saying, I really like the topographical aspect of this map, referring to, like, the hills and whatnot, essentially. I thought that was kind of an interesting comment. I guess we can go this way. But do we own that field? No, thankfully not. It means I don't have to plow under another sugar beet field. Oh. Oh, what's this? Oh. Luckily we have... Nope. Maybe that's not going to work out. What? How are we stuck? Put the diff locks on. Maybe that will make a difference. No. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of Polish power. I think this Ursus is a Polish company, so Toby Moby would be glad, I'm sure. So yeah, there's a pathway up here. I don't think there's a ditch. I guess there is a little bit of mud holes / ditches here. But I really like this little path. That's such a cool little path. That goes up to the forestry area. So here we are at the Molino, which I guess is mill in that must be Italian, yeah. I don't know. Anyways, let's sell this and then we'll stop there for today. How much we're gonna make? 12, 13, 14. That's not too bad considering it's only one load. Perfect. Nice. Excellent. Alright folks, that'll be it for me for today. I need to get off to work as per usual. It's 7 o'clock. I need to catch the bus in a little while. So, that's it for me. My name's Iain. Robson has been Farming Simulator 2015 coming at you from Agrofrost. And here's a little pathway. Cool. Anyways, catch you guys later.